Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, welcome to another market open stream. Today, got a lot to talk about, just like every other day. There's a lot of jitters about the upcoming FOMC meeting. There's more scariness, but there's also goodness too. There could be a giant company that could be entering this space. And this company can be buying 18% of Bitcoin supply. 18%. That's a lot more than Sailor. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about everything else that's happening and what to expect going forward. All right. Let's do it, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are starting out the day a little bit lower than yesterday. We're feeling the volatility a little bit, around 93.7, 94,000. Days before FOMC meeting, this is what we usually see, right? I kind of said this during my Sunday walk video. Every time, even though we know that we already know what the Fed is going to say. Okay, we already know what he's going to do. Actually, I take that back. We know what he's going to do. We just don't know what he's going to say exactly, although we could kind of guess what he's going to say. Generally speaking, traders just don't like it, right? They tend to be more cautious beforehand. So today is the start of the two-day meeting. And tomorrow is when Fed Chair Powell comes out and does his press conference and then his Q&A, right? And that's when people try to digest and read in between the lines. Like, okay, is he dovish or hawkish? Is he going to be cutting anytime soon? That's all going to be tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be pretty fun if you like that sort of thing. But today, we're not looking so good right now. Not off to a good start. Some scary news. Trade tariff slump widens. Okay, not only for imports, but also exports. Nearly all U.S. exports have shrunk, which is not good. The whole point of the tariffs is kind of to like even out trade. We're supposed to increase our exports. And according to the charts, all the exports have decreased substantially. So it's going both ways. It's affecting both ways. So that's not the intended consequence. So that's not good. And also, Paul Tudor Jones just came out and said, even if Trump relaxes on the tariffs, especially against China, even if he comes down to 50%, let's say, it's still going to push stock market down to new lows. I don't know about that. Because the stock market isn't doing all that bad right now, okay, despite having the tariffs be so high. But then again, it could be because Wall Street is anticipating that there will be a deal made sooner than later, right? But if Wall Street does come to a realization that there will be no deal, and this is permanent, and the tariffs will stay for the next 4 years, and it's going to be, let's say, 50%, then he may be right. Then yeah, maybe then Wall Street will react this way. But if they think that there will be some kind of deal made and the tariffs will be lifted, then, stock market probably won't slump to a new low. So I guess we'll see. But ultimately, everyone's waiting for what's going to happen tomorrow. Not just the U.S., the whole world. The whole world wants to know what the U.S. Fed is going to do. In fact, I think Bank of England is going to decide on Thursday, and it's anticipated that they're going to cut ECB already cut. So we'll see. Everyone wants Fed Chair Powell to cut. Hey, look at this. Hey, look at this. UK and India strike a trade deal amid US-led tariff tensions. Ooh. You got two countries that just formed. Wait, actually, that's not with the US. I was thinking that's with the US. I was thinking that UK and India made. I was reading that there was a trade deal between the US and UK and India with the US. No, that's actually a UK and India trade deal. So that's not helping the situation in the US. I was like, oh, that's a good thing. Actually, that doesn't help the situation at all. All right. Anyways, so let's see what happens tomorrow. So how does this all relate to Bitcoin? Well, there's always good things in Bitcoin. So how much Bitcoin can Berkshire Hathaway buy? So this is the question. This is the company I was referring to. And I kind of talked about this yesterday. Warren Buffett is stepping down as CEO. And there's someone else, Greg Abel, is going to take over. And it's shocking to hear about that. Berkshire Hathaway has close to $350 billion, billion with a B, of cash. Okay. And they've been preparing for recession for a while. I know most people do not like Warren Buffett, but, you know, he has the same stance as a lot of Bitcoiners. He believes that the U.S. deficit is not a good thing. The U.S. cannot sustain a deficit for much longer. And everything that we're seeing with irresponsible printing and spending and everything else is going to eventually lead to a collapse. And then that's exactly why he's actually holding on so much cash, because he wants to take advantage when everything does collapse, right? But that begs the question, since he is so anti-Bitcoin, and I don't think he's ever going to turn around, will his successor change the tune and actually load up on Bitcoin? If he does, and let's say he goes all in, he can buy, and this is assuming he does not, affect the price. But obviously, if anyone puts in 350 billion right away, it's going to make Bitcoin's price go up, and then it's going to make it, obviously a lot more expensive. But let's just say he could buy it at today's current price. They could buy 18% of the supply themselves right away. That's how much money they have. I don't think people realize how much cash that is. That's $1/3 trillion. More than $1/3 trillion. That's insane. Just to put a little bit of that, just to put 10% of that is close to everything that Saylor has put in. You know how we hear about Saylor going nuts and buying all that Bitcoin? That's only probably 15% of the cash pile that Berkshire Hathaway has. That's how insanely rich they are. And it goes to show you how much money there is out there that can still be coming in. It's still so early, and that's just one company. And all the big tech giants like Apple and Microsoft and Amazon and Meta, they all have hundreds of billions of dollars in cash waiting to be deployed. If they all jump in, we're talking about trillions coming in, right? And that's just with the top 5, top 6 companies of the world. That's insane. But hey, will this happen? Who knows? Who knows? I don't think Greg Abel's pro Bitcoiner, but you know, landscape's changing very, very quickly. Very quickly indeed. And they may want to jump in. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, look at this. Look at this. Especially in the US, Paul Atkins is giving a keynote speech May 12th. That's like just a week from now. And look at who's participating. You have Fidelity, NASDAQ, BlackRock, Invesco. You got some of the largest asset managers and brokers that are participating, right? The landscape in the US is changing. So who knows? Even though Berkshire Hathaway could be so negative, or has been so negative, they could change. They may have to, while everyone else adopts Bitcoin, right? It wouldn't be unfathomable within the next few years. And in the meantime, I mean, even though Bitcoin's price has not been moving, you know who has been accumulating? BlackRock. I mean, BlackRock just does not care. Yesterday, all the other funds had outflows except BlackRock, again, taking in $500 million worth of Bitcoin. It almost makes no sense. Look at all the other funds having outflows. Bitcoin didn't do particularly well yesterday. And BlackRock had another 531 million inflow. They are buying their own ETF. I don't care what anyone says. They are buying their own ETF. They're using their other ETFs to buy their own ETF at this point. They are loading up. So Larry Fink he's just loading up. He knows. He knows. He truly understands. And he knows that this is the time to be loading up while there's still this consolidation period, while there's this like tariff scare, while people are still not quite on board. He's going to be accumulating. And one day he's going to accumulate enough where he may ultimately, I don't know, be done at some point, but not right now. Not right now. Semler Scientific just bought 160 more Bitcoin. That's good. We know Saylor bought some more recently. Metaplanet bought some more recently. These are all great things. Great things indeed. But we do also have some negative stuff. For example, yesterday we were supposed to get an update from Scott Bensent about the Bitcoin reserve and everything that comes with it, like an audit, how he's going to store it, any updates to it, stuff like that. We didn't hear anything about it. Maybe it was behind closed doors, or there's other more important things to worry about, so he just skipped it. We didn't really hear anything. And Kevin O'Leary says it'll never happen, which doesn't make any sense because it's already signed. It's an executive order. So, I don't know. Kevin O'Leary says, no, it's not going to happen. It never will happen. Although, I think it already did happen. So I don't quite understand it. But there are some people that don't think that it's appropriate. The UK just came out and said, no, we're not going to have a national Bitcoin reserve. But look at Germany. Germany said the same thing. They sold 30,000 Bitcoin last year, right before it started pumping. They lost out on tens of billions of dollars, right? I don't see why countries do not understand this. They hold enormous amount of gold, every single country. Why not hold some Bitcoin? Bitcoin has not disappointed anyone at all so far. Just to hold a little bit just a little bit, can make a big difference. Nothing out appreciates Bitcoin. So arguably, it's the best hedge against inflation. State of Florida also withdraws their Bitcoin reserve bills because they have some setbacks. And Arizona's governor rejects their proposal. So there are still some people that do not believe that Bitcoin is appropriate for like a, a statewide or federal, I guess, kind of investment. But you know what? At some point they will. Maybe right now they still don't believe, but at some point they will. But the good thing is, it's good for the rest of us, okay? Because when BlackRock and everyone else is loading up, we still want some for ourselves. There's not that many to go around. There really isn't. And this is surprising. There's only 993,000 addresses that have more than one Bitcoin. And most people have more than one address. Okay, most people that have at least one Bitcoin has way more than one address. Like I alone probably have 20 addresses. Okay, so if you take that and you divide it by at least 10, let's just be generous and say most people have at least 10 addresses that have more than one Bitcoin. So that means there's only about maybe 100,000 people on the planet that have more than one Bitcoin. Now, if you think about that, that's insane. Only 100,000 people out of 8 billion hold one Bitcoin. So if you're among that 100,000, and you don't even have to have one Bitcoin. Just imagine if you have half a Bitcoin or a third of a Bitcoin or even a tenth of Bitcoin, how far along you are. But if you could get to that one magical Bitcoin and go beyond and go to 2 or 3 or 5, you are so far ahead of everyone else. You're setting yourself up for success, for life-changing wealth in the future, because there is not that much to go around. When you have BlackRock accumulating tens of billions, leading up to hundreds of billions of dollars of the Bitcoin, eventually that'll become trillions. Then you have sovereign states now talking about it, and private company and public companies all fighting for it, and they're competing with the long-term holders and everyone else in between, the retail holders that have been accumulating too. I mean, there's just not enough to go around. That's why Bitcoin continues to appreciate every single cycle and gets bigger and stronger and more mature and more adopted. But that's really amazing if you think about it. There's probably about 100,000 people on the planet that holds more than one Bitcoin. Now, remaining few things. According to this person, the Golden Bull Run starts on May 8th. That is 2 days from now. I hope so. This is according to, fractal patterns as happened before. I'm sure there's a little bit more than that. Let's see if it'll happen in 2 days. But this is projecting that Bitcoin will top out around $300,000 roughly by the end of this cycle. This, on the other hand, is looking at some other kind of pattern. We hear about the Wyckoff pattern quite a lot. I don't know if this is another kind of like Wyckoff pattern, but it does show, if you look at the upper left-hand corner, it does show Bitcoin moving in the same kind of pattern. Now, if we do continue that pattern, what this is showing is Bitcoin in the very near future, and this kind of correlates with this being May 8th. I don't know if it's going to start as soon as May 8th. But if we're following that same pattern, that means we are about to rocket up to the moon, okay? And go to the top of that pattern, which is like the start distribution phase. And then stay there for several months until the top, and then we start coming down. And then this is projecting that we will keep going down until we go in full-blown recession mode, which this is projecting sometime in mid of next year, we will be in full-blown recession. That's if we're following that pattern. So if we are, this is projecting that we will be going up really quick and really fast. And this is also projecting that we will be going up to about the 300,000 mark. Let's see if it happens. And CZ thinks that 300,000 is actually too conservative. He believes that Bitcoin could top between 500,000 and $1 million this cycle. I would love to see that happen. Even me, I think that's a little bit too much. I do think maybe like 200,000, that would be a good figure. 300,000, great. 500 to $1 million, wow, that's kind of crazy. Love to see it. Love to see it happen. All right, that's pretty much it. Don't really have anything else to say. Let's see, the U.S. market is still not doing good, dropping a little bit more. Look at this. Mattel CEO says toy manufacturing won't come to America, but price hikes will. So that's no good. All right, let's do some Q&A. George, is there any way to see addresses hold at least 0.5 Bitcoin? Yes, there's a site called Bitcoin Rich List. Yeah, this shows you. Yeah. So it doesn't say 0.5, but addresses holding between 0.1 to 1, there's about 3.5 million, right? 3.5 million. I really think you just at least divide that by 10. Okay, so if you divide that by 10, right here, you divide that by 10, I'm going to say worldwide, there's probably about 350,000 people that hold anywhere between 0.1 to 1 Bitcoin. That's just not that much. That's just like so little. LTC ETF got delayed. I don't think anyone is looking forward to that. Now, this is interesting. I want to know what pattern that is. I wonder if that's still another form of Wyckoff pattern. Because if it is, that means we are going to be seeing that 2.4 mark, the trend accumulation or the trend continuation, and that is a good thing. Stanley Wong, hey George, your Bitcoin price prediction is much more sensible than CZ. I was astonished when I watched that interview. I don't know why he's so bullish. Maybe he's right. He's been in this space a lot longer. You know what's funny? When I was walking out of Token 2049, I was tired and I just want to get out of there. So the day I was leaving, I was walking out and then, I wasn't paying attention, but I saw these like 6 guys walk towards me, right, while I was walking away. I wasn't really paying attention. I kept my my head down and I walked past them. And then the guy I was with was turned around and said, hey, that's CZ with his bodyguards. And I'm like, God damn it. I should have stopped and said hi. Like, he just like walked right past me. But he was just surrounded with his bodyguards and I just didn't pay attention. He was walking into the conference while I was walking out. Yeah, Vegas, Bitcoin conference, end of this month. Hope to see a lot of you guys there. I will be going. I think people forget, even like though like a lot of people are depressed like right now. You look at where Bitcoin was last year during the Bitcoin conference and where it is now. Big difference. Big difference. When was Bitcoin? Bitcoin 2024. Bitcoin was like at 50,000 or 60,000 last year. Maybe even less than that. It could be at like 40,000. And we're at 90,000+. So it's definitely very different. It feels like it's not bullish because we're like 93, 94,000. But you compare it year to year, we're up like 50, 60%. I'm just curious. When was Bitcoin 2024? It was in Nashville. July, Bitcoin 2024 last year, that's when Trump actually spoke. It was in July 25th. Okay. July 25th, Bitcoin was at 67,000 or 60 something thousand, right? And we're at 94,000. So, people are feeling bearish, although last year we were in the 60s still. And then not only that, after that Bitcoin conference, we fell down to 40s. And then we fell down to the 50s. and then we start rallying. So I mean, like, you got to put things in perspective. This year is way better than last year, no matter how you slice it. It is not. It is not bearish. We're not in a bear market. We're not in crypto winter. I always get asked, are we in crypto winter? I'm like, just look at last year and look at this year. We are up here. This is last year. How is up here anywhere near here? This is not lower than here. So how is this crypto winter? Like, and let's not forget, just a few weeks ago, we were down here. You remember it, guys? Remember? Just a few weeks ago, we were hovering in the low 80s. We fell back down to the 70s a couple times. And now we're back into the 90s. Remember this? We were here for a couple of months, March, April, and we had this big jump right here back to the 90s. When in doubt, zoom out. Okay, that's the best thing. When in doubt, zoom out. I remember when I drew this out, when this started forming. First, I drew this out, and then I just started drawing this little handle, and then I drew a bigger handle, and everyone's waiting for this cup and handle to break out, and it just didn't. And then the handle got longer until it finally broke out. And it held true. It's a giant cup and handle that took 3 years in the making. Let's see. MSTR, they're not doing so bad. 380, just a little bit under 400. They've been making pretty good strides recently, coming back up. You can see. Celine, Clarkson, George, do you still hold some ETH long term? No, I do not. I don't hold any ETH. Just a little bit for like USDT transfers. I do not hold any. I was shocked to see the Celtics lost to the Knicks. So if Celtics lose to the Knicks, that's almost as embarrassing as the Lakers losing to Minnesota. Because Celtics, they are so loaded. They are the most, I mean, they're the most over the limit, over the cap team. They're close to 400 million in salaries. they should be walking and stomping on everyone. And if they like actually lose the series and they don't win again, it's really embarrassing. Um, so, but with that said, I don't want to see them win. Uh, I don't care for New York, but I'd rather see New York win this series than Celtics. Juice Master, you already know the answer. You don't need to send me a super chat to ask me if Powell cut rates tomorrow. You already know the answer. And the answer is no. They just released a second GTA 6 trailer 10 minutes ago. I don't need to react to it. I don't have anything against Minnesota, but I just don't respect that team at all. Anthony Edwards, I think he's a young guy, probably one of Jordan's sons. He looks like Jordan. Like, he actually does really look like Jordan and plays like Jordan. Um, but he's just a little arrogant to me. But he could be the face. He could be the face of the NBA. I mean, someone has to be the face of the NBA after LeBron retires. LeBron has been a face for like 22 years. Okay, he can't be the face of the NBA any longer. So it has to be like someone else. And everyone else is like a foreign player. So, there's really no one else. So he can be the face. Um, but sometimes he doesn't play well either. Like in the final game, in game 5, he didn't play well. The only reason why they won was Gobert. And Gobert is just like, I'm not a fan of Gobert at all. Curry's old too. The funny thing is, when LeBron retires, Curry and Durant will probably retire right at the same time. They're not that much younger than LeBron. We need a new Shaq and Kobe vibe. Yeah, we need some good centers is what we need. Right now, we have like Jokic, and that's it. Embiid is always injured. He's like the only like good center that we have. Everyone else just like shooting threes all day long. And Jokic is not really a inside dominant center either. We just don't have any dominant centers anymore. I wish we did, but we don't. All right, guys. I'll conclude. Everyone's talking about Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer. I'll let you guys go watch it. So today, overall, not bad, not good. Hovering around, waiting for this guy right here, Fed Chair Powell, to do something. Okay. Will he cut? Probably not. But what will he say tomorrow? The markets are hanging in balance, I guess, waiting for him to speak. All right, guys. Smash up the like. Subscribe to the channel. Look forward to my video later tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.